So welcome back, everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful week. I wanted to jump on this evening because I received so many emails and messages regarding how to start your own small business. And this is something that could actually be like an entire series. There's so many different factors involved, and this certainly isn't something that could be covered in a really small amount of time. So I thought I would jump on and share with all of you a little bit of the basics that are just essential and that you need to know regardless of what type of business you're looking to start. These are things that were very helpful to me. Now, there are some of you out there who I've actually worked with and mentored and helped to start your own businesses. And so you know a little bit now about what it takes to get a business started. But the first thing that I really want to suggest to everyone when it comes to that point where you feel like, I just don't want to work for someone else any longer, I want to do something on my own, is to really decide what it is that you want to do. Do you want to do private labeling? Do you want to do an online store? Do you want to do something in a partnership with someone? And you know, I've done both. I've done the online store and now I'm doing the private labeling. And each one has different benefits and different drawbacks. So the first thing that I would suggest is, first and foremost, know what it is that you want to do. At the time I launched the online AtHomeWithZane store, I knew at that particular time that was going to work out best for me because there was very little upfront cost involved to start the online store. The inventory was not housed here locally. It was drop shipped from the suppliers directly. So there's a lot of benefits involved whenever you decide to open up an online e-commerce marketplace and you are working with suppliers that are going to drop ship your items to your customers. And so at the time I opened that store, I knew that that was going to work out best for me because I didn't have the space to store a large inventory, and also the upfront cost to purchase the goods, have them shipped here, and then turn around and sell them. With the drop shipping, that was all taken out of the picture. The order wasn't actually purchased until it was actually purchased by your customer. So you have your suppliers and then you have your buyers, and your customers are your buyers. As soon as they purchase something from your store is when you would then in turn go and purchase that at your cost from the supplier and then have it shipped directly to the customer's door, and they would fulfill and ship that order. So if you're someone who doesn't have a lot of money to invest up front into a business, but you want to get your feet wet, you kind of want to get a feel for what it's like to run your own business and what's going to be involved and all of the different facets of having an online e-commerce store, that's a really great way to go. And there are certainly different platforms out there such as Shopify that you can set up your own online store through, and then you can work through the store to find suppliers and things like that. So when I chose to do the online marketplace, the e-commerce online store, that worked out for me at the time because I was looking to gain that business experience in a retail setting, because I knew I wanted that to be a launching pad for something down the road. And I'm really glad I had that experience because I learned so much. And having come from a very professional setting to now working in a retail environment and having customers and you being the person that they're going to come to when they have a problem or an issue or a question was really, really eye-opening, because when you work for a large corporation, there's layers and layers and layers of people who make the decisions for you, and those protocols that you have to follow, those policies. And so you're sort of just that person that has to deliver that message, but you're not the decision maker in most instances. There are many people above you. Well, when you become a store owner, you are the decision maker. So I had to be the one to decide on what decisions were going to be made and be in charge of dealing with every aspect of the store, from merchandising to marketing to customer relations, the whole 9 yards, to the accounting, all of that. So find what you want to do, and if you want to do an online e-commerce store, go out and start your search online. There is a wealth of information online available for you so that you can really get a lot of background about the company that you want to work with and get a lot of research accomplished before you make the decision, because sometimes things seem really, really easy and they turn out to be very difficult, and then other times you think that they're going to be very difficult, and at the end of the day it really doesn't end up being that difficult. It doesn't end up being a huge obstacle. And in that instance, that seemed really difficult, but it turned out to be not so hard to get that up and running. The other thing is, you need to have a dedication to it. I have so many people that reach out to me and they say, I want to do what you're doing. And I always say, first and foremost, what do you think I do? And then as soon as they would say, well, you have an online store and you get to buy pretty things and put them on your store, and you get to be creative and create your website, and it just looks like so much fun. And then when I explain to them the truth, the other side of it, the grunt work, the hard work, everything it takes to accomplish that, I say, now that I've told you that, are you willing to do what I've done to get where I am at? And 9 times out of 10, most people don't. Everybody wants the end result, but they don't want to do the work to get there. And when I say everyone, that doesn't mean every single person on the planet, obviously, because there's a lot of people out there who have made those accomplishments. Obviously, there's a lot of people who are willing to put in the grunt work to get it done. But I've learned that there are actually more people out there who are not willing to put forth that effort in doing it. They just want the end result. And I can tell you right now that that's going to make it extremely difficult for you to pull that off. It's not probably something that's going to fall into your lap and that you're going to be able to get done relatively easy. So after we decided to close the store, and I was approached with the idea of creating my own private label, as I said in a previous video a while back when I announced that I was going to be doing the private labeling, I always say, if you're praying for something and you're believing for something, then you need to do something to start getting that action into place. So if you want to write a book, start writing it. Start writing down your ideas. Because when the time comes, I always say, when God is ready, be ready. Because things move very, very quickly. And if I hadn't already spent the last 2 years investigating, having my own brand and private labeling and what that would entail, I wouldn't have had any idea what to do whenever I was approached with the idea. So as soon as I was approached with the idea, I knew instantly I wanted to start off with making candles. I want a home fragrance collection that will consist of candles and linen sprays and wax melts, anything that's going to be relevant to creating a beautiful scent in your home. And so I said, I want to start with candles. So we started with the candles. And I have my AtHomeWithZane candle here. This one I'm burning right here is actually the lavender, which smells just amazing. And so I said, I want to start with candles. And so I knew what I wanted to start with. And I started doing research and looking into what does that mean exactly to have your own private label brand of a product. And when I chose to go with these candles and, you know, go with the manufacturer that I did, and some of you that saw the previous video of the hiccup with the boxes and things like that, that's another key factor is, you know, in business, you're going to encounter all sorts of people, whether it's the people you're dealing with professionally as suppliers, or whether it is customers. Regardless, you just may as well accept the fact that there are going to be people that you're going to have to deal with that are not always going to be pleasant. We have, at this point, rectified that situation. We are moving forward. Nothing is changing at this point with the candles. They're going to be continued to be manufactured by the same supplier, and you know, we're happy with the decision that we've made to do that. So know what it is that you would like to do. I knew that I wanted to do the home fragrances, and then outside of that, I have other collections that I want to branch into, but I wanted to start with the home fragrance collection. So once I decided I wanted to go with the home fragrance collection, now you get the opportunity to really get your creative juices flowing. And I decided what type of vessel I wanted the candles to go in, the labeling, I decided on the packaging, and that's where you get to be creative and you get to curate your collection or your product line to be what it is that you want. And that's where you need to have a vision already in mind. Long before this came down the pike, I knew what I wanted my product line to look like whenever I was presented with the opportunity to make it happen. I knew I wanted it to be classy. I wanted it to be simplistic. I wanted it to fit into any decor style. I had a very, very clear vision in mind of what I wanted everything to look like, so that when the time came, I would be ready and I wouldn't be scrambling to try to go, oh my goodness, now I don't know what I want to do. So have that idea already in your mind. And also, let me say that you don't have to have any special talent, skill to create your own business. If I can do it, you can do it. It is not something where there's some hidden secret involved that you have to know in order to create your own product line. Now, obviously, this time around, there was upfront cost. So, you know, whenever we order the candles, we pay for those. And the labels and the packaging, all of that is upfront cost. So in order to, you know, obviously create your own type of private label or brand outside of the e-commerce business like we talked about earlier, where there was very little upfront cost involved, this does have upfront cost. So I know that that's not practical for everyone. But if you have the ability and you've got the money, research, and really dig in deep. And for me, it wasn't about finding the cheapest route to go, because I wanted my product to be of quality. And so, as with most things, if you want quality, then you're going to pay a little bit more for that. So I really dug deep to find something that was going to work for me, both financially, to where I would be able to get the product I wanted at a good price point, that I would still be able to sell it at a reasonable cost. That's something you have to take into consideration as well. There are a lot of people out there who manufacture candles, but as I look through them and I see what they're offering as far as quality and what they're offering in terms of aesthetics, I found nothing that was really comparable to what I had, and it was at a higher price point. So I would be biting off my own nose to spite my face, and it wouldn't be a good business or financial decision for me to make a change at this point, because I'm offering a really wonderful product that I also get to offer the beautiful packaging with and all the other things that come along with it at a good price point for me, which then in turn allows me to offer it at a good price point to my customers. So you want to make sure that when you're looking into purchasing items to private label, that you're doing your research. You're researching what is going to be the best way to make sure that I am really investing this smartly, wisely, and that I'm finding a good price point for you, and then also the price point that will allow you to sell to your customers at a reasonable price. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to make your prices so astronomical that nobody's going to purchase them. You certainly don't want to price your products higher than what they're worth in terms of quality. And you also want to think about your upfront cost that you're going to spend to make your orders and purchase your inventory. So once I did that, I then went on a search for avenues to market my business. And social media, most every strategist I've met with, even when we started the store, they said social media is going to be your absolute best outlet when it comes to advertising. Now, you can pay people thousands of dollars to advertise for you, but you really have the ability right at your fingertips to get out there and advertise and market for yourself. And so take advantage of the opportunities that you have to go online and share your information and share your product. Now, if you're someone like me, and if you're someone who obviously is watching this video through YouTube, you know that being a YouTube creator, I have a following of YouTube subscribers, and many people only learn of what's going on through YouTube if they aren't on Instagram or Facebook. So I always like to put out somewhere, even if it's just in the community section, to keep everybody in the know of what's going on. And that's really important when you're trying to market and promote your business. But like I said with the store, I wanted to make sure that one of the reasons that we discontinued the store is I wanted to make sure that I was not constantly utilizing YouTube as a platform to promote the store. Now, there are so many people who follow me here on YouTube that it's very fair to say that obviously I want to share the candles here with all of you. And so I've done that. And I typically try to do that through the community tab. Just so that you all have the opportunity to at least just get a little glimpse of what's going on. Like I made an announcement earlier today where we were at inventory-wise. And this last go around, we started with a much larger inventory than we did before. And I'm very excited to say that the inventory is growing smaller and smaller and smaller by the hour. So I think it'll be very, very quickly, we will be sold out once again. So once I had my online website, which I've had for years, but once you have your website set up and you know what you want to private label and you found the good price point and you found a good price point to sell to your customers, you then have to find a way to get that out there, make it look aesthetically pleasing to everyone. And then if you have the ability, take advantage of advertising and promoting and selling your products on a local level. Now, there is a great deal of work that goes into getting your product line into even a small boutique, but certainly into large retail stores. Ultimately, I would like someday for my products to be in a large market retail store, like a Target or a Macy's. But I also know, realistically, I'm starting out on a local level with boutiques and things like that. But there's certain things that you need to know and certain protocols that those buyers are going to expect from you when you approach a boutique. So you can't just out of the blue approach them without giving them a wealth of information. And they want that information in the smallest format possible, but they want to know exactly what your product offers, why it's worth what it's worth, you know, what you're selling it for, what your price break even point is. There's a lot of things involved whenever you're approaching a retailer about carrying your product in their stores. So I can say that on a local level here in the retail store that the candles are in, they're doing very, very well there as well and gaining a lot of exposure. And by gaining exposure, that's what's going to help promote your business. And eventually, you can find that you won't have to do as much marketing and you don't have to do as much of the legwork and getting out there and more or less, you know, door to door selling yourself. But until that's established, you are going to have to spend a great deal of time investing in getting your name out there. And I have done that. So behind the scenes, if I'm not doing a video or I don't have something personal going on, I am constantly working on promoting my product line on both a local and a national and, you know, worldwide level. So I have sent out those emails to the local boutiques. I've talked with local boutique owners. I'm scheduling appointments to meet with other boutiques to get in there and get my products on their shelves. So there's a lot of things that you need to know. And like I said, this is just a crash course because so many people were asking me, even more so now with the private labeling than they did with the store. You know, I've been thinking about this. I want to do my own line of this or that, and I just don't know where to get started. And it seems daunting. And I always try to assure them, if you go online and you do your research, and you just keep digging and digging and digging, you'll find exactly what it is that you're looking for. Another thing that I want to make very, very clear is there's a very big difference between doing personalization and private labeling. Personalization is a service where a company is offering a product that you as a consumer can personalize and give as a gift to someone or purchase for yourself. I'll give you an example. T-shirts, sweatshirts, coffee mugs, keychains, all the different signs that we see nowadays. That is oftentimes personalization. So if you're looking to create a product line, you don't want to go online and type in personalize your own product line or personalization, because what you're going to come up with are people who are looking for you to personalize a sweatshirt that says, you know, best grandma ever, and then give it as a gift to someone. Private labeling means that you are going to, as a company, work with a wholesaler that's going to take your logo and put it on whatever type of product you're looking to private label. That is private labeling and carrying your own line. Personalization is something completely different. And I've had this conversation with about a half a dozen people now. They say, I went online and I saw, you know, sweatshirts, and I want to do sweatshirts and I want to do t-shirts, but I just keep seeing companies that are saying, you know, spend $15 to personalize a sweatshirt, totally different ball field. And most of the companies that are going to do private labeling, they're going to require that you have a business license. They do not typically open it to the general public. They're going to require most oftentimes that you have a federal tax ID number, that you have taken all of the proper measures to be licensed in your state, and be a company. Every company that I have worked with, even ones that I haven't launched yet, anybody that I've approached to put my name on something has asked for documentation to prove that I have a business. They've asked for my federal tax ID form and my LLC and my sales and use tax license and my retail business sales license. So before you go out and you start approaching these wholesalers, you need to look at their rules, terms, and conditions about working with them as a wholesaler and then getting approved through them. Because the majority of wholesalers, that's why they're considered a wholesaler, is that they get to offer retailers lesser prices because they are a business and they're exempt from paying taxes. Because when we resell the merchandise, we are charged taxes. So it's very important to know the difference between personalization, private labeling, and wholesaling. So I hope this has answered some of your questions, because when I receive so many emails, and I know so many of you other YouTubers out there can relate to this, regardless of what your YouTube platform is, you receive so many emails on a daily basis that you can't possibly get to all of them. And when I've received a resounding question over and over and over again, I feel like it's better to just come on and share it in the form of a video, and hopefully it answers the majority of the questions that are out there. And I really went through and I dissected the emails to find out what some of the very, very common questions across the board were. And those are the ones that I've addressed in this video here today. So I highly encourage you, if you are looking to start your own business, start doing your research, start creating, an idea in mind, do the legwork to get that started, and believe in yourself that you're going to be able to do it, because at some point you will be able to. And you're going to experience bumps in the road. It's going to happen. But it's rewarding in the end. And, it is something that you can be very, very proud of once you see it come to fruition. I want to thank each and every one of you who have purchased the At Home with Zane candles. I received so many emails and messages and photographs from those of you who received them either through the retail store, or those of you that got in on the first launch when we launched the candles the first time. We have had an overwhelming response once again with the online order that just went out when they launched online. Orders coming in. It's so wonderful also to see so many familiar names. When I see the orders come across, I'm like, I know her, I know him. And, that just to me is so heartwarming to know that you all are actually patronizing. I can tell you these candles are really beautiful. I'm going to give you a little close-up look here as I have before. I don't think I've ever really shared one close-up because I've never done a video where I've actually had one burning, but they're absolutely beautiful. And I always encourage everyone, on the bottom is the warning label. It tells you how to care for your candle, and it's important to read that because, a lot of times we don't pay attention to that, and I know they're on there for a reason. Obviously, not just to warn you of what not to do, but also give you information as to what to do to get the best burn time out of your candle and get the best look out of your candle and things like that. So on the bottom is the label. Be sure and check that out. So I hope you all have found this video useful. Before anyone starts asking me, because I know the question is going to come up, and if you didn't see it in the community tab or you don't follow me on social media, the flowers, I know you guys were going to ask, the flowers came from my husband. He is traveling this week for work, and so these were sent to me today. It's an absolutely beautiful bouquet. It's just gorgeous. It's just chucked full of hundreds of different beautiful flowers, and I absolutely love them, and I'll try to keep them alive as long as I can. I'm typically very good at that. I have a lot of really great techniques to keeping them alive, but they're beautiful. So I didn't make this arrangement, so before anyone starts asking me to share this, I didn't create this myself. A florist did, and that's where they came from. So I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I hope you found some value in this video. Check out my video description for links to all my social media sites, my Instagram, my Pinterest, the AtHomeWithZane website is on there. Check those out. If you haven't done so, I cannot reiterate this enough, you guys. Get in on getting the candles. As I shared earlier today, we are now, since that last post, we are down to 1 of the citrus basil, and we are under 10 in the lavender and the vanilla. And I want to say a couple orders just came in within the last hour. I think we're getting even closer to those being out of stock as well. So if you want one, take advantage of getting one now. Share them. I know confidently when you get them, you're going to love them. You're going to share them with your friends and family. And I think they're going to become something that you absolutely love. We will carry more scents than just these 3. We're going to introduce a scent for spring. And I am working right now on getting our linen and room sprays in order to get those launched sometime in the coming weeks in the future. So stay tuned for all of that. Really exciting. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and we'll look for you the next time.